Namaste, my dear brothers and sisters. The love and blessings of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo to all of you. I have the privilege of having with me here today Ms. Ashwini Londhe, a pioneer in counseling children. She studied educational psychology as long ago as 1994. So, for more than 30 years, she has been counseling the school children and their parents and teachers and so on. So, in general, the counselor faces situations in which something has gone wrong. And therefore, we sometimes feel that all of us have something to correct, need to correct something in the way we are bringing up our children. But a lot of situations in which everything is right, and hopefully that is much more common than when things go wrong. Uh, we sort of are not so aware of that. We're not aware of what is happening quite all right. What is highlighted most of the time is what is going wrong, and that sometimes gives even those who are doing everything right the feeling that maybe we are also not doing the best. And therefore, such persons, even if they come to a counselor, they just end up getting some reassurance that no, you are doing everything fine. Don't be so anxious, because the parents are sometimes just anxious. Am I doing everything right? If there's something wrong going on with so many other parents, and that is reflecting in the children, will it sooner or later reflect in my child also, create some problem in my child? But then they get reassurance, and reassurance is not because those parents are experts in parenting. It's not that they studied uh, parenting in school or college, or studied lots of books on parenting. It is because of some very simple things. They are willing to give the time that the child deserves, and they express their love in the proper way, love with boundaries and discipline, and discipline as far as possible. They help the child to move towards self discipline and common sense. These are basically the type of things that help them be good parents, and the counselor just reassures them. Uh, but then sometimes I think it's nice to talk also about situations in which the parents have done a remarkable job, maybe with a little help from the counselor, but then ultimately it is what they do rather than what the counselor says. So uh, I think today we can focus on that. And before even we turn to those situations which are seen as cases, so to say, instead of all those case histories, why don't you share with us something that you observed in a temple just yesterday? He found a child, a teenager, maybe he's about to appear for his class 12 board exams. The child had come with the temple with his mother, and they had brought there not maybe just flowers or something to place in front of the deity in the temple. They had brought some stationery, some pen and things like that, which the child will carry to the examination hall. And that also they placed near the deity, to sort of sanctify, to charge those writing tools with the consciousness that they believed exists in that idol, and which will somehow have a positive effect on the way the child is able to handle the exam. Now, this is something very interesting because this type of thing happening to a teenager, not just a 5-year-old who will do whatever the parents say, and not to a girl but to a boy, because the boys resist this even more. Instead of the child refusing to do it and saying that it is a superstition and I will not do it, the child has accompanied the mother and is very reverentially going through all this. Uh, whether it is effective or not, that is debatable. One can have a debate on that. But then it's not impossible. Just because we think something is unreasonable or seems irrational doesn't mean that it cannot be true. But we'll not get into that. But this at least shows that there are some situations in which the parents are bringing up the child so well that even when you expect a resistance from the child because of a very natural generation gap, it the child is quite willing to go by, and if for nothing else, at least to keep the parents happy, is very willingly and sincerely doing what is expected of the child. So why don't you start with that episode?
Yeah, namaste. Uh, so it was like uh, Yesterday evening, we went to one of the temples nearby, and yes, as Sir said, it was like we were just sitting after darshana. We were sitting in the temple, and we saw that mother and that child, the son, who was a teenager. They came and there were some five temples, and at every temple the mother was keeping the things and the stationery and the papers what they had, and even the child also was doing the same thing. It wasn't like because of some force or something. It was showing that he is also feeling something about it, and definitely something about what the mother is doing. He has respected, he has understood, he has given all the justice to her actions also. So it was something like it was happening in a flow. There was nothing which was stopping them. There was nothing which actually the child also felt that he shouldn't do or he shouldn't be doing that right now at this time. He did all that. Then both of them they collected that stationery and papers, whatever they were actually keeping near the deity, and they took all that thing. They sat, they were chatting when they sat, and they took prasad and they went. It was a casual incident if we'll just look at it. But uh, when we go through the psychology behind it, it shows that from the beginning, when the child was a baby, and might be before that also, there was something which was done from the parents' side, which has reflected even now that yes, there is some unconditional love. There was some care, there was some comfort, there was coziness in the relation, and it was a mutual respect what they had for each other that was actually flowing over there. And even as a teenager, usually, as Sir said, that the resistance is always there from the teenagers and especially from the boys. It wasn't seen. It was a very natural thing what happened. So, uh, as a counselor, we come across many negative cases or usually conflicting situations usually are brought into our notice. This was very natural, pure, and very uh, uh, a real thing that wasn't colored with anything. It was a very real thing what I noticed and I shared with Sir, that it was really nice. It was like as a mother, I definitely had tears in my eyes at that time, like how nicely both of them were having all that particular episode. So, like that, I would like to share another example where the mother has taken all the care from the beginning. Yesterday's incident was about any normal child or any child whom we call normal, and following the mother. Uh, the example what I'll share now is about the child who was brought to me when he was just 2.5 year old, and the parents were finding that there is something different in our child. And at that time, I just did the primary diagnosis like, yes, there is some symptoms of autism spectrum are there. So the child needs proper assessment through proper institute or from the doctor. And they went for it, and immediately uh, the mother, when she understood that my child has some special needs, and definitely it won't be a normal scenario where I can just keep working or keep following my career and the child will follow his own path. No, it won't be that straight and that easy. So I have to give up on something, so either on the child or on the career. And she took the decision of child, like, yes, I have to focus on my child. She gave up on her career, and she actually went to each and every door which was open for her. All the counseling, all the therapy sessions, occupational therapy or ABA therapy, whatever we call it in our terminology, everything she did just to pull the child to the stage where the child is totally independent and taking care of himself. So she did that almost for 12 years, consistently, without failure, and she adjusted every other thing for that child. After 12 years, actually, the child has started showing that yes, he is back to almost normal. We can't say that he's completely back, but was able to take care of himself. And he completed his 10th. Uh, when he was 18, he completed his 10th, and now he's working in one startup. Not some skilled person or skilled labor as such, but at least he is independent and standing on his feet. So it's all the work, all the effort, what the mother put in, all the sacrifices, what she did. And even today, when we communicate, she says that was my responsibility as a mother. When I brought the child in this world, and by God's grace, or whatever we can say, the child was like that. Now it was my responsibility to bring him up to the stage where he can take care of himself. So that is what I have done. I have done nothing great. That is the expression from the mother what I got.
It's really much easier said than done. Uh, this lady has done a remarkable job, and I'm sure there are many more doing such things because what she has put as her responsibility because she brought the child to this world is partly rationalization, partly also, I think, humility. Because, if one says it was my responsibility, one feels that as if I've just done my duty. And the duty in the Indian culture does not have a sense of compulsion. It has a it is looked at a little differently. Duty is not a compulsion. We can enjoy a duty that is also a part of our culture. कि कर्तव्य,
Kartavya.
कर्तव्य or farz. These
हाँ,
words have a connotation which has a flavor which is a little different from the duty in English, as if something I have to do because I'm paid for it or something like that. It's not that
not
type of
that type.
connotation that kartavya or farz have.
Mhm.
So, so she has done it. She was putting it sort of a responsibility.
Yeah,
That was a partly humility. The primary thing which made her do it was love,
love.
love for the child,
Yes,
unconditional love, and for the sake of that, as you said, she made many sacrifices, but because she was doing it out of love, probably she didn't feel that she was making a
yes,
sacrifice.
yes,
And if one were to look at it from a spiritual angle, in fact, she was growing spiritually. For growing spiritually, one doesn't have to take care of hundreds and thousands. Taking care of one such child
yes,
for 15, 20 years to make sure that this child is able to have an independent and a comfortable life, and a life which the child also finds meaningful and enjoyable. To ensure that with just one person, one child, is also something great because the lady has given all that she had and all that she could give,
yes,
in fact, all of herself,
yes,
just this, forgetting herself completely and doing it for this child, treating the child as her own extension, just seeing which need is more important, his needs or my needs. All his needs are more important than my little needs. So forgetting her own needs completely and just taking care of this one child. That is what essentially spiritual growth is about. So without realizing it, and the process does not depend upon realizing it. Even if she didn't use high flown terms like living a meaningful life, a purposeful life, fulfilling the purpose of life, working towards the growth of my consciousness, working towards my spiritual growth, even if she did not use these terms, she was doing what these terms imply. She was doing what leads to this type of progress. And the process of making that progress does not depend upon knowing all these terms. So I'm sure she feels it. She feels that she's a different person altogether as compared to when she got the child. Starting from that point, she has become a different type of person, more loving,
yes,
more caring, more willing to share, more compassionate, and in general, a nicer person. And as a result of it, also a person who is happier and healthier and has a sense of fulfillment, which goes a step even beyond contentment. Now, these are things which we all want, and they keep defying us because we are unwilling to give as much as we could. This lady did it out of love for the child, but no matter why she did it, and this is what she has got from it. Thank you for sharing this because we tend to focus, as you said, on negative case histories, but this is a very positive example, and I'm sure there are many more
Yes.
which would not come to you,
But
and I'm sure you are not looking for more and more people to come to you. So, uh, so a lot is right in the world. So we should need not be necessarily too sort of pessimistic and feel that now these days everything is going wrong with parenting, everything is going wrong with children. A lot is happening, which is quite right,
yes.
and good to know about that also. Thank you.
Thank you.